I'd say welcome back to another video here on our channel. Today I have a very special guest with me. That's why I'm talking in English. But for all our German viewers, herzlich willkommen nochmal bei uns zu einem neuen Video. Heute geht es um Helium10 und wie wir quasi richtig einen Markt analysieren können und vor allem auch entscheiden, ob ein Produkt erfolgreich angegangen werden kann oder nicht. Deswegen switchen wir jetzt wieder auf Englisch und gehen da rein. I have a special product expert from Helium10 on my side today called Shivali Patel. Maybe you'd like to introduce yourself.
Sure. So my name is Shivali Patel, as he said, and I am an Amazon seller. I sell in beauty and personal care, as well as books. So I use Kindle Direct Publishing and working on automating that. Now, I am also a brand evangelist with Helium10, which, if you don't know, is a software suite of tools for Amazon and Walmart sellers. We have every single tool in the box that you can think of, from product research into keyword research, listing optimization, operations, marketing, you name it, we have it. So regardless of where you are in your Amazon journey, I hope today that you can learn how you can use the data that's provided inside of our software so you can confidently make decisions to find a really cool product that you can found your business on. Whether you're looking for your first product or your next product, you can absolutely use these tools. And what I'll be doing is sharing my screen. So I highly encourage you to open up your Helium10 account while you're watching this video and follow along. I think the best way to learn is really by doing it hands-on. And so again, I'm going to give you some best practices. Doesn't mean you have to use the same filters as me or anything like that. I think everyone has a method to it. Keep in mind, you can absolutely do product research in person as well. Maybe you're going into a store and you're finding something and you
Absolutely.
think, is this a great product? Maybe this is something I can sell on Amazon. And you absolutely can. But software really just helps you ease some things out. When I got started, I was doing things manually. I went into bestsellers, categories, subcategories, trying to find a product. And it took me a good amount of time. I think it took me close to 4, maybe 6 weeks before I even found a short list of product ideas I wanted to start talking to suppliers about sampling. But with a software suite of tools, you can go in, put in your parameters, and end up finding products, a list of products, very, very quickly. So with that, I'm just going to go ahead and jump in. Claudio, I don't know if you have anything else you want to add to that before I...
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we can dive right into it. Obviously, like every single product research strategy has their own process. However, which we'll show after a look at Blackbox right now, the analyzation of a niche on Amazon is always the same process and needs to be validated, obviously, very detailed. So yeah, that's what we're going to cover today too. But as you said, we're just going to start with the black box right now. So I think you can just dive right into it.
Perfect. All right. So Blackbox is our primary product research tool. When you are inside of your Helium10 account, you'll go into tools and it's right underneath product research. Now, what's really cool about Blackbox is it processes over 2 billion data points daily. That's every single day, processes 2 billion data points. Now, imagine trying to sift through that much data on your own. It's just not reasonable. You're not going to be able to do that. And so Blackbox allows you to go in, put in some things that you are potentially looking for. Maybe you're looking to sell in a particular category, or you want to see a certain price range of products because, again, if you have a certain budget that you're working with, right, then maybe you are not somebody who can afford to invest $20 per unit just to get that product built out, because then you're looking at maybe electronic items, or you're looking for something with a smaller investment upfront. And so these are some things that you can use as you are going through Blackbox. You can input in those filters and then find a short list of opportunities to work from there. We do have several different tabs. We won't be covering all of them, but at any point, if you're interested, we do have learn buttons on pretty much every single one of our tools. So there's a learn button right here. You just click that and it will tell you how to use each one of these tabs. We'll cover products and keywords. We'll actually go through a full demo for keywords, but products, just in case you're curious, what the difference between these two are is the products tab is going to let you input in some filters. And when you go into Amazon, right, you're going to get a product listing page. as a result. So as opposed to going in and maybe getting a search results page, you would get this sort of output for this particular product. So that means that if I were to type in, I went in and I went into maybe, what would this even be in? Health and household, right? Or home and kitchen. Maybe I went in and put in some filters and I click search. This exact URL page is what would be outputted to me as a potential result. Now, when I'm in keywords, right? Keywords is going to show me, let's say I'm typing in coffin shelf, then this right here, this term that we typed in is what I would get as a result. So what exactly is the difference? What is, maybe you're thinking, well, Shivali, which one of these should I be really using? Well, that's really up to you. The products tab is going to allow you to get the product listing pages, and maybe you'll find something that's unoptimized. So if I put in a maximum of 3 for number of images, then I'm finding a listing that isn't necessarily fully optimized. It's not using all of the space that it's been given. But if I use this in conjunction with, say, a different filter like monthly revenue, maybe it is making at least 4,000 in revenue every month, then I'm looking at a product that, first of all, it's not using this space well, but it's still generating really good revenue. And so for me, that might indicate opportunity. I might say, all right, well, if I go in here and I have 7 images, or if I have a video, I add really killer A+ content, then I might be able to not only hijack these sales, but make even more. So it's something to consider. The keywords tab is a little bit different. You'll also see that the number of images filter, for example, is not on this tab. And that's because, again, we're looking at a full market. I personally, this is one of my favorite ways to do product research with Helium10. It makes it really easy to identify demand. You're looking for things maybe that are high in search volume. Maybe I'm saying it's being searched at least 100 times every single month. All right, this is on average. So 100 times every day for an average of 3,000 every single month. Then you have your monthly revenue. Again, similar thing as we just talked about. You have your price point. So maybe you want to input in, I don't want anything that's over $120 retail price. Again, this is retail price. It's not your landed cost or anything like that. You have your review count, your review rating, which is going to be the average for the products that you're taking a look at. And this might be important. Why? I mean, if you are coming on as a brand new seller, you're going to have how many reviews? You're going to have 0, correct? Yeah. And so you will want to have something that is the average, that maybe isn't going to be thousands of different reviews, right? If I'm looking at collagen peptides, for example, this is, I think, a prime market where you have a lot of ratings.
That's a lot, obviously. Especially on the German market, you rarely see products with like 40,000 reviews. And then it's a good way to really just cut these out from the beginning, because, especially as first product, it maybe is not the best decision.
Exactly. And I think since you mentioned the German market, I should also mention that if you guys are German sellers, you always want to do your research in the German market. Okay.
Exactly. Yeah.
So make sure that you are doing your research in the market you're selling in, because people who are living in Germany are going to have significantly different needs and demands and purchasing habits than somebody living in the US. So I'm going to go ahead and just continue, but it is the same exact philosophy, I promise. There's not much that changes, but as opposed to maybe 3,000 in search volume, you might end up finding that you can input a lower search volume simply because you don't have nearly the same style of market in Germany as you do in the US. So sometimes I'll find that lower search volume keywords still do really, really well.
Yeah.
Word count. Word count is fantastic for buyer intent. So somebody who is just typing in, let's say, bathroom, is going to be potentially browsing for products, right? Maybe they don't know what they want yet. But then if you were in something that is, white marble toothpaste holder, something of that nature, that's a little bit longer in keywords, right? You have your longer tail keywords, you're going to have stronger buyer intent. And so with stronger buyer intent, you start identifying audiences that are ready to purchase, that are hot. And that is really the style of audience that you want to be in front of. And so word count is a great filter for you just to start narrowing down the list of products that you're looking at.
Yeah, perfect.
You also have categories. Now, Claudio, do you have any categories you want me to select here?
Well, what we discovered, especially for the European market, is, for example, kitchen and dining is a very, very opportunative market, and also home and kitchen. And yeah, but right now, maybe we could change it to Amazon.de.
Yeah, let's go ahead.
Yeah, then we'll get obviously German phrases, but I can just introduce you to the products themselves. It's no problem. Yeah, and here it's called, if you scroll down, Küche, Haushalt and Wohnen, it's yes, under camera. This is all together. I saw in the US, obviously you have two categories, but here it's only one for which covers all this.
Okay. Good to know. Good to know.
Yeah. We can maybe
any other ones you want to add?
Yeah, maybe add garden. It's also with G. Yeah, exactly.
Perfect.
I think these are very interesting ones because, yeah, especially in Germany, we have the weather very cold in the winter, but very hot in the summer. And sometimes it's a good thing also to search for seasonal products, because obviously a lot of people say, okay, that's not my thing, especially for the first product, it's kind of hard. But if you are able to do everything right with the inventory planning, then it's a big opportunity, because a lot of competitors aren't really gonna do that. So yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So some of these other filters here, you have your keyword search and exclude keywords. Maybe you have a particular season coming up. Right now, we are recording this in November, and maybe you don't want anything that's Christmas related to show up in your search results because you know there's not sufficient time for you to prepare for that season. Then you could just go in and, let's say, exclude certain keywords if you want. Or maybe you're preparing for something that's coming up next year and you want to particularly have it for a season. You can absolutely include things as well. But if not, of course, they're not necessary. It's up to you if you want to use them or not. Then you have shipping size tier. If you want to specify what sizing you want, if you want number of sellers. Private label, typically I max out at 2, but if you want, maybe you are a wholesale or arbitrage seller, then you can absolutely go in and put in a minimum of 2 instead and start finding those listings that have multiple sellers on them. You also have variation count. Now, this is something where maybe you are private label and you want to go into something that has, you have a lot more money to invest and you're thinking, all right, I can afford to do something that has many variations. By all means, you can select this filter, or you can say, okay, I only want something that has a max of 1 variation count. You can do that too. Then you have the monthly sales. So how many units are being moved on average per month? You have your best sellers rank, your best sales period, your fulfillment type. So are you doing FBA or FBM? Or are these sellers that we're going to receive an output FBA or FBM? You also have your age and month. And guys, remember that the filters I'm using are not the ones that you necessarily need to use. I always like to go in and play around with these. I actually do multiple searches multiple times throughout the year just to see, because sometimes you can find a really great product, and then by the time that you're really getting those samples and everything made, maybe that market's changed. And so I always like to go back in and see if I find a better product opportunity, or even just to shortlist ideas. You can end up finding really, really neat things that you didn't know exist. Now, I think today is a prime example, at least for me, because I am not German, but I'm sure I'll end up finding products that are interesting because I don't speak this language, but I know Claudio does. And so you can end up finding really interesting things that way too. Age and month, you can use this, let's say, in coordination with, monthly revenue or search volume, just to get a feel for how maybe things are changing. Maybe you want to find a really new product that's doing well, and then you want to see that over time it's still really, really well established. So age and month is something you could use. You have competing number of products, which if I were inside, I know this is the US platform. I'm going to change it over to Germany in a second, but just so you know, this 888 results, that is referencing the competing number of products. So that is not going to be necessarily the ranking number of products, because we only have 7 pages, but it's telling you how many products are indexed for that particular search term. Then you have title density. Title density is super interesting. If you don't know what it is, you can hover over the question mark icon in case you forget, but it's just how many products on page one have the actual keyword search term that's given to us in the title on that first page. So going into coffin shelf, let's say our coffin shelf title density was 3. It means that 3 of the products on this first page have the keyword coffin shelf inside of the title. And it's supposed to help you understand how easy or difficult it is to rank for something. So this means that when I'm doing my product research, right, of course, long-term, we want to be able to rank for a lot of keywords because that is what gets us sales. I mean, yes, you can drive traffic from, let's say, Instagram or TikTok, or maybe through influencers, whatever the case may be, you can drive your traffic that way. But also, you're probably going to be running PPC on Amazon, as well as just trying to use your intended main keywords and your supplementary keywords inside of your listing, just so you can rank, so you can then stay at the top of page one, where a lot of people end up purchasing their products. Think about how far down do you really scroll on your Amazon searches before you purchase a product? I mean, the odds are really you're buying. Claudia, what about you? Do you ever go past page one?
Yeah, I mean, to be honest, I look at the top 5 max on the first page, and then most of the times I do find what I need. Sometimes, but very rarely, I need to maybe scroll to the second page. But that's really when I just have something very specific in mind. But when it's from daily products which you use in your day-to-day life, obviously it's always going to be the top 5 on the first page. And that is why it's so important to really, as you just explained, to really see how are my odds to rank on these products, how competitive is it there, and do I have a chance to rank there with PPC, for example, or is it very unlikely? And then obviously we have to check, are there any other keywords or synonyms where I have better odds to rank on? But that's what we'll cover in a minute, where we can find these keywords to maybe have an alternative to rank on there on the first page.
All right. Yeah, exactly. So I'm just going to put in a max of 2 for title density.
Yeah.
You can, play around with that. You have broad reach potential as well. So what are the chances for that keyword to actually connect with other additional keywords that are similar for the products that are ranking for that keyword? Then you have your competitor revenue, your competitor reviews and ratings. So maybe you're wondering, well, what exactly is the difference between the top ones and the bottom ones? Well, these ones at the very bottom are taking a look at the top 10 organic positionings. So when you are on a search results page, it's going to skip over the sponsored, and then you'll have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. And so it's going to look at those top 10 placements and tell me that if I put in, let's say, 1 has at least less than 150 reviews, then at least one of those top 10 positions have less than 150 reviews. That's all it's telling me. If I put in, let's say, 2 for more than 2,500 in revenue, then it's saying that at least 2 of those top 10 positions have more than that in revenue. So it's a good way for, at a glance, to see whether or not you would be able to stack up to the competition when you are placing in the top 10 positions. Let's go ahead and click search. And then as you can see, we got 74 phrases found. So this is based on these parameters that we put in. This by no means, this does not mean that there's only 74 opportunities on Amazon. Trust me, there's plenty. You just really have to kind of go through and pick and choose. And, of course, even if I remove just this one, this would expand out. Now, if you were seeing this, that you did this search and you got 200 plus, then what I recommend to you is go in and actually refine that search. Or maybe you got 500 plus, really depends, but go in and refine that search. So that way, when you do have these phrases pop up, you can actually go through each and every single one of them. That's the whole purpose of this, right? It's not to sit there and go through 500 different ideas. It's to help you put in what you're looking for, get back a amount of results that you can actually go through and select and start picking and choosing. So tell me, Claudia, what is this first one?
Yeah, sure. I mean, as you can see, revenue is quite high at 67K per month. It's obviously a seasonal product. It's like a let me just check. Wait a minute. It's a complicated
Oh
word,
no. Okay.
but it's a fan heater, but with batteries, right? So not with the normal. I just see you have been auto tool. Yeah, we're back.
Yeah, it just
Perfect.
went back. I just clicked restore last
Yeah,
search. So a
yeah, no worries.
perfect
Perfect,
teaching
we're back.
opportunity.
So it's a fan heater, and obviously in the winter it's gonna sell a lot. So right there, you can, for example, click into the search volume, which it says,
Yes.
and there, maybe you can explain what that means. We can definitely see the seasonality on this one.
Yeah, so exactly what Claudio said. When you click that little graph icon next to search volume, you'll be able to see what the historical trend looks like for this search volume for this particular keyword or key phrase. Now, for this one, you can see that it's quite seasonal. It peaks every single New Year's time, and then it drops back down. But even then, it drops to about 500. Actually, I'm seeing 300 during June, and then picks back up. Doesn't go all the way fully to zero. There's still searches happening for it, but it definitely sells much, much better. That maybe you are interested in just seeing what this product is if you're like me. So you can click the three dots, click view on Amazon, and you'll see that, you know, this is a lot like a fan heater, as Claudia mentioned earlier. And so you have different styles. Even when I'm looking at the pricing, you can see some variety. And this is really, I think, where we can start to talk about product validation, because, well, yes, we're finding products that meet our criteria, but how do you really go through and determine whether this is a product we want to go after? Well, one, is it something you actually want to sell? It can be one of those things. But two, you can start looking at the price points. So this one, you can see that it's about 14 euros. And when I'm going up, you still have, well, actually, prime example, this is not only $14, it's not even Amazon terms of service compliant. So this message should be on a white background. So if you see something like this and they're still selling a bunch, I mean, that's definitely something to consider.
Absolutely.
But all of these, sorry, do you want to jump in there?
No, just confirming. I mean, obviously, right now, such products are selling, but yeah, it's just the season of this. So
it is seasonal. It is seasonal. It is seasonal. That is definitely something that you will want to keep in mind, because let's say you start sourcing, especially so late in November for a Q4 product.
yeah,
By the time that you're getting it to market, you're just going to be losing all your money. So so just be very cautious that if you're preparing for Q4, you do it far in advance. Now here, just to use this market for some understanding, you do have quite a few different styles for fan heaters. You can see that they're made out of different materials. They're different styles. I mean, this one looks like it's for the car. This one looks like it's just a radiator for the house. This one's a lot bigger, overheating protection for bathroom, office, and the price point varies significantly. So you have a 15 euro and a 50 euro thing. And when you are taking a look at a niche like this, you can use the Chrome extension. If you don't have access to the Chrome extension, then I would recommend going to helium10.com/extension. So that's helium10.com/extension. It will let you add it to Chrome, log into your Helium 10 account, and you'll have access to 6 different on-browser tools for Amazon, where the first 3 you can use directly on a search term page like this. And then you'll be able to use all 6 on any sort of product listing page as well. Now I'm going to go ahead and click X-ray. And when you are taking a look at X-ray, you'll see that you might end up seeing something that says not applicable. And that's because it's either a new product, it's had a category change recently, or they simply haven't really sold. So I'm just going to X this one out, select, and click the little trash icon so I don't have to look at that. But going in right here, so we have this Balter fan heater. It's doing about 20,000 in revenue. We have the sales graph, which we can click on again and toggle between sales, bestsellers rank, and the review count. You can move into all time if you would like. You can see that it's starting to peak and gaining some traction up to 46 sales a day. and then it's dropped a little bit recently. You also have additional information. So you have, yes, the price point, but you also have the fees. So this one, again, I'm not sure why it's not showing up here, but let's at least take a look at some of these other ones. You have your 13 euros. And so this one is priced at 60 euros. Let's keep that in mind. All right. Again, this is not a product that we necessarily want to go after, but just so you can use this example to understand the niche that you are most likely going to be looking at. You have 60 euros in price, $14 FBA fee, and let's click find suppliers on Alibaba to understand what it might cost us. So here, I'm not really seeing any fan heaters.
Yeah, actually not showing the exact product, but I think, because here it says Akku, which means just battery. So it just doesn't take the exact keyword, but yeah, we can search.
No problem.
Like that, exactly. Fan
so let's
heater
just do a search on Alibaba. And as we can see, we have a few different variations here. So we have the cheaper ones, $4 to $6. And then if we wanted to do maybe the larger home style ones, we can get a little bit pricier. We also want to consider customizations. We saw this one on the Amazon search terms page. So it goes up to $7. Let's say that this cost us maybe $12 to source. I'm going a little bit on the higher end just because I'm thinking, okay, maybe I want to put in a really nice box. Maybe I want to add a nice product insert. I want to have nice branding on both my box and on my fan. And then maybe I have some sort of value add, something that's super small that I want to throw into the box for people to have as well, because I want to provide them with this 6-star experience, right? Instead of 5 stars, I'm shooting for the 6.
Yeah.
And here, if let's say I tap into this product right here, let's do one that has good revenue. Let's go into this one. So the one we were looking at was white. This one's selling for 19. So I'm already not loving that. If I'm selling something electronics, I usually like to go higher. So here, let's go into profitability calculator. And then let's type in, let's say I want to sell this product for $40. And maybe the manufacturing was like 12, like we said. Maybe our freight costs per unit is going to be a little bit more expensive. Maybe I change up the dimensions and say this is going to end up being 2. And then if you want to maybe change up the actual dimensions, you can do that as well. But look at this. You have only $4 or 4 euros in profits. This is not a product that I would want to go into, because for me, it simply wouldn't be worth it. Now, you do have your FBA fee listed here according to the price point that we put in. It's saying it's about a €6 FBA fee with your storage fee and referral fee down here. So again, just some things to keep in mind is, of course, profitability is like the number one thing you want to make sure is good, because otherwise, what's the point of going into business, right? Excuse me. But this things you'll definitely want to check.
Yeah, absolutely. I can confirm, obviously. So what a lot of people do by mistake is just love a product because they put so much effort and time into the analyzation, and then they just ignore the factual data, for example, regarding profitability, which cannot be ignored, because obviously you still want to build a business which makes good profits and makes you free long term, and not only have a product which you like. So keep that in mind when doing product analysis. It's always about the data. Obviously, you can search in your interest, and that is possible, which Shivali showed before with the keyword tool. For example, in the black box, you can put some buzzwords in where you say, okay, this is something I'm interested in, and then you can search from there, which is completely fine. But at the end, the profitability needs to be checked, and that is a great way. Actually, we do that if we want to really fast just check, okay, is it going into the right direction? Obviously, you cannot compare this profitability calculator to a in-depth a full calculation via Excel, but that's not what it's supposed to do. It's just to give you an insight. Okay, is it worth my time to put into that product, or should I just move on to the next one? So really great tips here. And I think this one of the most important things we are having here in the X-ray extension, besides the revenue, of course, right?
Yes, exactly. So this is one of those things that you will definitely want to check. There's some other things here. You have your FBA fees, your active number of sellers, review count, images, review velocity, buy box. Maybe you want to compare your dimensions and get a feel for how it's affecting the FBA fees. You can take a look at that, maybe make some conclusions based off of this data that you're seeing. You have these two numbers up top. If you're not seeing these two numbers, you click the Chrome extension, go into this cog setting. And this is why you probably might not be seeing the two-factor success score. If you are, then you have it on the two-factor success score. But otherwise, you'll be seeing a star rating for multi-factor success score. What this is looking at is those last three filters that we covered inside a black box, the top 10 organic positions, and seeing how you stack up. So that's what we're inputting here. Maybe you want to see something that's, greater than 5,000 in revenue or has less than 75 reviews. So if I'm taking a look and let's say seeing this is saying 7 of the top 10 products have a revenue over 5,000 euros. And then 5 of those top 10 products have under 75 reviews. So this is a pretty good. You have your related keywords that you can select because, of course, you don't just want to rank for one single keyword. You're going to want to rank for many. Yeah. And so this gives you an idea for related keywords. If you're not seeing not applicable, again, just tap in. Okay, not sure what's happening there, but hopefully you are getting a different result and you can see this. Usually this doesn't happen. So
yeah, it's just not enough data because it's such a broad keyword, so long, and therefore nobody searches it. That's the reason.
Yeah. So you do have sort of a niche insight, which again, I usually like to open up the actual search volumes, take a look at them. I don't typically go just based off of this because I feel like this is very relative. You might have a higher risk tolerance than some people. And so it's just good practice to go in and see what the actual market looks like. Plus you want to check for relevancy. So all things to consider. Now, we covered very briefly some product validation. We talked about the profitability calculator. We talked about the price point, just understanding if it's a good range for you. Some other things to consider are what people are actually saying about the product. So maybe I'm seeing that, this product is 4.1. Well, I can go into the Chrome extension, click Review Insights, and start narrowing down what people are saying. What do people love about the product? What do they hate? So that way I know what to improve on. I can also understand what sort of questions people are asking and then start to make sure when I'm building out my listing copy and my images that they really are well aligned with what people are already looking for. So that way they don't have to sit there and ask the question. If they are seeing exactly what they have in mind, they'll purchase a lot easier, right? And so Review Insights, you can go through and dissect it out based off of the review distribution. Maybe you're looking at product variations. So this one only has 1. That's why we're only seeing 1. But sometimes if you're looking at product variations and you want to go into that particular product, well, go into product variations inside of Review Insights, and you'll be able to see a review distribution share. So the one that has the most usually is the one that is selling the best. Not necessarily to say that there's a 1-to-1 ratio, but of course, if you're leaving reviews, not everyone even leaves a review. So if you have a particular variation with a lot more reviews, then it's just likely that that's probably the variation that you can purchase first before you go into the other colors or sizes or ranges.
Yeah. Just to add 1 second, that's the perfect tip because we see a lot of sellers who are unclear of which variation should I offer. For example, for something fitness related, obviously you have some colors, and the people always then are unsure of, okay, which color needs to be in my listing to even compete in the market, and which color is nice to have, has some sales, but maybe isn't necessary for the first order, right? You can always add the colors later on if you're more successful with the product and it's generating more cash flow. And that is a great way to really just get a glance of the distribution of the variations. We actually use that very often because in the last times we had some brands where we had like on every single product out of 8 products, some variations, up to 5 variations. And then it's really important to decide, okay, which variation is gonna be bought in a lot of mass and which variation I will just order maybe 200 units from. So this is a great way to also plan your inventory if you are doing the first order and you aren't really quite sure which colorway or which variation needs to be ordered the most. Then just look at this, what Shivali just showed here. And yeah, you can get real data, obviously, from the reviews, which helps you decide what to order.
Yeah, so definitely do this if you aren't sure which variation to go after, but it is something that you're looking into. It really does make things a lot easier because you're now taking the most probable variation first. And so then, of course, you can go back in and build from there as you start creating revenue.
Yep.
One of the last things I'll really cover here, because I know we're hitting time, we have this, when you're inside of X-Ray, right, you have some options here to run Cerebro and Listing Analyzer. Now, you will need to go through and select products. So let's say that I'm selecting this one. It's about 8.2. So let's just select similar dimension ones, because people who are looking for a certain, and there's many ways to divvy out your products. Keep in mind that everybody looking for a fan heater, this isn't necessarily your entire competition pool. You have your car heaters, then you have your heaters that are more expensive. People who are willing to buy like a $200 heater are not the same people that are willing to buy a $15 or €15 product, right? And so things to keep in mind is don't just look at these products, look at how they're sectioned out and look at the revenue, look at the profitability, look at how you can add value to the market. Because if you can find a way to add real value to that niche, regardless of if you have new competitors flowing in and out of the market, you will be able to stand as that standalone product that is the only one that offers something that you are offering. And so really go in there with a unique offer. You can go in, select the different products that you are interested in either modeling yours after, or maybe that you have been interested in, or you feel are going to be your competitors, and click Run Listing Analyzer to see how each of those listings vary for their scoring according to Amazon's best practices, what you can do differently. And then you can also click Run Cerebro. So Cerebro is our keyword research tool. And though I can't cover all of it super in depth, again, there is a Learn button here that you can select and just follow through and understand what each of these filters provided here does. You would take the ASIN and input it in. You can enter up to 20 of them to find really top performing keywords. Now I see mine here is frozen. Hopefully you can.
Yeah, I mean, it should be loading right now.
Yeah, I think it's just taking a second. There we go.
Yeah,
Okay.
exactly. Because, yeah, perfect.
So here you have many, many different options. If you have a multi-ASIN search, so you have many selected before you went into Cerebro, or maybe you just copied and pasted them in, you can access this tool directly from keyword research as well. We have Magnet, which is instead of the product identifier, you would be inputting in a single keyword, and then you would get more keywords in result that are related. So the product showing up for, let's say, coffin shelf would also show up for which other keywords, and that's what Magnet would show you. So here you have, it's a very similar concept to Black Box. You would go in and put in any filters that you have. Maybe you want to look for a certain search volume, you want to look for certain phrases, or you want to see, you know, which of these keywords are my competitors ranking somewhere between position 1 and 30. And then I would go from 6,406 filtered keywords, click apply, which I've barely added anything in except for this position rank, but we went from 6,000 to 1,255 filtered keywords that much faster, simply by just inputting that one thing in. Now, if you're preparing for Q4 or a particular season, we do have this, this is very, very cool. It's pretty new for us. So you can compare now the historical trends. So how are your keywords doing maybe last October comparatively, or your November keywords or your December keywords, which keywords were peaking? Because of course, these are things that you will want to use to prepare for the coming season. And you can do that simply by typing in a minimum max for search volume for that season. Now you have many other things here. Again, go into the Learn button to understand that. But as you can see, as we put in those filters, you can start going through and finding keywords that maybe are relevant for you. Now, we have a very low search volume here. So maybe that's another thing that we would want to go in and refine and say, all right, I want at least 100 searches every single month and go from 1,000 into 435 filtered keywords. Now, from there, maybe I'm thinking, all right, well, I want to see what what products have the title density that we talked about earlier. Or maybe I want to take a look and understand my ranking number of competitors. So instead of all 4 of these ranking, maybe I only want to see like 2 of them are ranking for. So maybe a max of 2 of my competitors are ranking for. So you can go in and see that automatically we only have 249 filtered keywords. So hopefully this helps you understand just how quickly you can really refine your keyword research, not only for your listing optimization when you're building out that listing, but also when you are actually in your product research section to understand whether or not there are keywords you will be able to rank for as you are coming out with that new product. These are all ways to validate your product ideas. And I hope you learn something new and that you find it useful and that you go out there and you actually implement, because that is the most important thing that you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much for this detailed introduction into different tools of Helium10. Shivali, thanks to you, we have now an overview of the whole analyzing process. Please keep in mind that always you have to really go into the market and take your time to understand everything, to create USPs which really sell. But the great way of using these tools, which Shivali showed us before, is to really also be creative. And for example, for the Cerebro tool, which Shivali showed a minute before, you can really see which keywords are in the competitor's listing and just use these keywords also for USP idea creation. For example, what we just saw, I mean, for my audience in Germany is Heizlüfter leise, which simply means fan heater, very like not loud, very clean, and also not really using a lot of energy. So this would be maybe something which I'd consider if launching this product to put into the sourcing fact sheet and just see, okay, is it possible that I also focus in the marketing afterwards on these topics, because obviously it's a lot of search volume in there. So you can really just use this information not only to know, okay, I need to run ads on these keywords because there's a lot of search volume. Obviously, you should do that, but maybe you can see a peak in a special keyword with a special USP, where you can just say you put your whole marketing around that USP, which the audience or the buyers on Amazon want to have. And then you don't only have your USP on the product itself, you can always have your emotional selling point, where you necessarily don't even have a much better product, but you just show it from a different perspective. And that brings you a lot more sales because it reflects the thoughts of the customer on Amazon, and then he just buys, right? So you can be really creative with these tools, which is why we use them every day. It's really, really awesome to just go through some other way and just use Helium10, not only in the usual ways, but also very creative. And then you can definitely gather some new ideas, which will be very helpful. So yeah, that's what we want to add to that. But I think we covered a lot, Shivali. Thank you again for your time. And I'd say the most important thing you said already, it's important to implement everything. It doesn't help to have the best tool if you don't know how to use it, or if you don't know or if you don't simply implement it. So as Shivali said, if something was unclear in this whole process, just download Helium10, look for yourself, try it out, and then obviously just use the learning buttons to have a in-depth training to every single tool, so you can just do it for yourself, right? Then I'd say with that in mind, we wish you all the best while using Helium10, and just implement these strategies. They are very helpful, also very actual for Q4 and the next year. And yeah, with that being said, thank you for your time, Shivali. Maybe until next time. Und damit beende ich auch das heutige Training mit Shivali. Ja, ihr habt jetzt einige Insights bekommen, wie ihr Helium10 am besten nutzt und damit die Entscheidung trefft, welches Produkt erfolgreich auf den Markt gebracht werden sollte und wann ihr einfach neue Produkte recherchieren solltet. In diesem Sinne, ganz viel Spaß, viel Erfolg und bis zum nächsten Mal.